Hi, I'm Brian Swinehart, and I'm a comedian and an actor.
So now, where are you from originally?
I grew up Pleasant Hill, Ohio,
Mm-hmm.
and I lived there till I was about 20,
Uh-huh.
and then I moved to California, and I've been here for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now, did you come out here to? What was your aspirations to come out here?
Well, I was pretty naive, I thought I'd just walk out and become famous,
Yeah.
I was really young, and I was in, some acting in Ohio.
Uh-huh.
So I came out here, and initially I had a landlady who worked at Paramount in wardrobe,
Okay.
and she brought me onto Paramount Studios,
Oh wow.
and then she said what I needed to do was get a job as an extra, and I would learn from there.
So you became a studio extra, or?
Yeah, at all kinds of places.
Okay.
And I did that for a couple years
Uh-huh.
while I first moved out here, and then I would take acting classes and get kind of odd jobs if I needed to.
So the idea was to be an actor.
And then when I was 22, I met a comedian,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd always watched comedy, but I didn't know how somebody would get involved
Right.
in stand-up comedy.
Uh-huh.
So I went to the show, and after that I asked, well, how do you do it? And then they put me on a little circuit. You got your open mics, you got your bringer shows, you got your book shows and all that. So I learned how to do it from there.
That's cool. So now have you been doing stand up for the last 8 years?
Yeah, I've been doing stand-up for 8 years, and I'm really glad I ended up doing stand-up because it's really rewarding and it's fun, and I feel real fortunate that I was able to meet somebody who did it, who could tell me how to get started, because coming from Ohio, I don't know if I ever would have gotten involved with, because the closest comedy club was an hour from where I lived.
Right.
And when you're in a small town like that, people they just don't believe things are possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you grow up in a small town,
Right.
and you say, I'm gonna be a comedian.
It's not-
Well, nobody in our town's ever been a comedian.
Yeah.
We don't have comedians here.
Right.
We got a job over at the pharmacy, or we got a job at the plant, or we got a job at the construction, but there ain't no comedians in this town.
Right. So who was the comedian that first got you started?
This guy was named Dave Banks, but he don't even do it no more.
Oh really?
Yeah, he does commercial. He got in a couple commercials,
Uh-huh.
but he don't even do stand-up
Oh,
anymore.
wow.
Yeah, I met him out front. Actually, we were out front of the nightclub, and he and I were both trying to hit on some girls, right? And we were having fun, and then I had gum in my pocket, and my dad always told me, share your gum, carry a bunch of gum with you.
Okay.
So I gave everybody some gum, and he's like, you must not be from LA because you share. And I said, no, I'm not. And then he said he had a gig coming up at the Ice House, and I went to watch that.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So the Ice House was that one of the first places you started at?
Yeah, that was one of the earlier shows I had, which the first time I did, I just really bombed bad at the Ice House, and I was real depressed. I remember my friend Mike, Mike Lawson, he sat out in the car, and he would talk to me about it for like an hour because I was so upset about how bad I did. But then I realized that it was in my guts. I was so upset because I knew I would do it again, and I'd have to keep facing this pain until I got good. So it's more complicated actually than people think.
So that first night you bombed, I'm sure you had that feeling like maybe I shouldn't do this anymore. What got you past?
Well, you know what? Strangely enough, I mean, those thoughts come through your head just maybe for a second, not even like just for me, it was more like I gotta revenge this. I know I'm better than this. I gotta get back on my feet and revenge this. I can do this. It's like, maybe a fighter got knocked out by somebody he knows he could beat.
Mm-hmm.
He could either quit or he could get back in the gym.
Yeah, definitely.
And for me, the stage is the gym.
Yeah.
So
what was one of your first bits like? What was?
I used to, because I was from Ohio, I thought that I could really play up being naive and kind of, slow and stupid.
Yeah.
Which so I would wear a suit and a bow tie.
Okay.
Every time, and just a suit and a bow tie.
That's really funny just right there.
Yeah, it was funny. It was funny just right there, and I did a little Amish character thing, and then but then as I got older and developed my comedy more, I figured, you know what, I'm just gonna try to figure out who I really am.
That's good.
Because I wasn't walking around the regular world in a suit and a bow tie.
Yeah.
So eventually I had to drop that.
Drop the character.
Just be myself.
That's cool.
And try to figure out. And that's the hard part too, is to figure out who you really are.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about the art of it, is that it makes you find who you are as a man walking through the world.
Yeah.
And what your real opinions and thoughts are.
That's cool.
And the audience is great because when you're lying to them, they don't laugh.
Yeah.
They look at you, and sometimes you look at them. You see the disdain on their face when you're lying to them.
Yeah.
So you can't really lie to a crowd.
Yeah.
It's like being on trial.
Totally. Yeah. So you feel that that honesty is the best policy when you're on stage, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's times when you slant it a little bit, but that's the joke part. They'll roll with that.
Yeah.
But
take it from real life.
Yeah, but whenever I've tried to be something that I'm not, they just will turn on you quick.
Wow. So now, do you travel outside of LA for work a lot?
Yeah.
How far are you traveling?
I travel a lot. I think I added up, I've done like 18 states.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I'm trying to hit all 50 eventually.
But you moved out here to make it, right?
Yeah. I moved out here, to make it. I was, like I said, when I came out here, I was 20 years old and really naive. I hadn't even. I've met like a few girls at the time. Nothing. I hadn't had any kind of real relations. I drank a few times and smoked a little weed, but nothing compared to what I've done now.
Yeah, a little change in there.
Yeah. So it just was like, I just came out kind of. I look at myself back then and was like, what a stupid idiot I was, because I really thought, and I was lucky that I had a friend, because my acting teacher in Ohio had a friend who I said worked at Paramount and Wardrobe, and she was a veteran of the industry. Had I not had her supervision, and she rented me a place in her attic for $300 a month. August for free because it got so hot.
So August was free.
Yeah, because I was just sweating up
there.
Oh
wow, yeah.
Yeah. So it was just like a sauna up there.
Now, have you ever had to do the sleep on a friend's couch, sleep in your car?
Yeah, I've had to do. What happened was, I got married to an actress. Okay, and when we first got together, it was great. She would say things like, "Baby, me and you forever. I don't care if I'm living in a dumpster. I'd be happy living next to you."
Right.
All these sweet little things, right? And I'm working graveyard shift at Bob's Big Boy in Burbank. And I married her. We were only dating. We should have kept it at that. But I married her because she was going to have to go back to Canada.
Okay.
Who wants to go back to war-torn Canada? What a terrible place,
right,
So we get married, go to Vegas, get married. Oh, my mom's pissed. Everybody's upset, And then we're married, and it was like anything. It was good for about a year or so. Then it gets bad. But I was kind of putting off what I wanted to do in my life a little bit. Because I was thinking, man, I want to help her. She was 32 and I was 24.
Right.
She was, and I thought she would make it, get something as an actress, because the way she looked and stuff, and she was kind of good at playing like ditzy parts. So she gets a couple parts, in real movies, and then I knew it was gonna come crashing down though for me, because she started hanging out with these other girls from the movie sets.
Right.
I got home early one time from my graveyard shift at Bob's Big Boy at 4 a.m. And she wasn't home. So I said, okay. She come home. I said, where the heck are you? Where you been? Oh, well, I was with Monique. Well, what were you doing? Oh, well, we went to Michael Bay's house. I said, what were you doing there? Oh, well, Monique thinks if she fools with Michael Bay, she'll get a part in his movie. Now, you never heard of Monique.
Right.
Monique fooled with Michael Bay.
Right.
Is she in a movie? No. Will she ever be in? No, because he's probably too smart for that,
Yeah.
you know? But that just had me going like, you know, and that's when I knew like, damn. And then, you know, so she gets the part in, I don't know, should I say the title? No,
Yeah, I mean,
she gets
it's
a little part.
documentary,
Okay,
so.
she gets a little part, 2 lines in a pretty good movie though, 40-Year-Old Virgin, 2
Oh, yeah.
lines in that, you know. But that was like, for me, my friend jokes with me all the time.
Was she in the dating scene?
She was in the very first. She comes into the store.
Okay.
She's looking for some kind of adapter or some shit, you
yeah.
know. So she comes in. I helped her learn those lines too, you know. But she comes in there. My friend, one of my friends who was friends with me back then, always jokes, "Man, you got the True Hollywood pulled on you." But she never. Who cares? You know, it's 2 lines.
Yeah.
It doesn't change. But in a lot of, for someone like her who'd been working at it a long time and was kind of older for a woman, you got to kind of cut ties with anything that you think might be holding you back. Like, I don't. That's why I don't know. Did she really love me, or did she just say that to get something out of me?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you know, and then you know these other actresses. I mean, that's the sad thing is there's a lot of them who just will cut you to get to that next step. And maybe I'm bitter about it. But,
Well, I think
you know,
Hollywood. I mean, it seems to be that trend. You know.
Yeah. I just felt like an idiot because I really like bought into it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like I said, I've always been kind of naive. So to move out here from Pleasant Hill, Ohio, population 2,000, where nobody's ever been a comedian before,
Right.
or even an actor for that part, is kind of like not the smartest thing to do.
Yeah. So that filled a little bit for the stand-up bits, huh?
Yeah. Now when that happened, that's when I had to live in my car because we split up, and man, I was about to choke her. So I moved out.
Yeah.
I had to move out because I was going crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I was going crazy. So I moved out, and I didn't have a place, and I picked up. At that time I picked up another job, so I had like a couple jobs. The other job was a part-time production assistant. But what I did was I slept in my car at the park that was near the job. And they had me working in the warehouse with a bunch of other dudes.
Yeah.
So I didn't really shower. I mean, I would wash up in the restroom. You know, get deodorant and stuff.
Yeah.
But fortunately, I was working with like 4 or 5 other dudes who were kind of like tough, manly dudes who didn't give a shit that you smelled a little bad.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I did that for a couple weeks, and then my sister came into town. And then she was coming into town just by coincidence, and then she helped me get back on my feet and get my shit together.
Yeah.
So yeah, for two weeks, I said I was just living in my car and just kind of trying to get my head on, and I was fortunate that I had that job in the warehouse where they didn't care.
What kept you going through those times? You go back to your car after work, and
Yeah, go back to my car. And then I would do stand-up shows still.
So you're still doing stand-up?
I was still doing, you know, I would still do the stand-up whenever I could get a gig. Now I get them much more frequently.
Right.
Back then they would only book me like 2 or 3 times a week. You know what I mean? But so those nights off is when I would do my stand-up. And what I learned was after that had happened, I had some real terrible shows because I was trying to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. They didn't want to hear it.
They don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
But you know what? That is what I needed to do as an artist, and sometimes they're gonna have to go through your pain so you can develop. I'm sure I would love for those people to be in the crowd now and see what I did with that.
Yeah.
You know, but I find the best part about it is tying your life into it. You know, the things that have hurt you. You know, like, you know, because when you cry, it's like the same motion as when you laugh.
Right. So just laugh about it, still cry about it.
Yeah, you know. So I would just sit there, but you know what? Those couple weeks in the park were like, I don't know, strangely enough, you know, a few years later were like a good time because of what I learned and what you do and how, you know, I had my notebook, I was writing.
Yeah.
You know, I would sit there and I would watch the squirrels.
Yeah.
You know, homeless dude came, gave me some weed. You know,
So the homeless guy's giving you
give
handouts.
me weed.
That's cool. He's feeling kind of bad for you. He didn't pick you up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So that's yeah, that's I don't know. That's my true Hollywood story, I guess. My friend always told me.
That's interesting, man. So, what was one of your best nights on stage? I hear.
Well, I've had some good nights. Well, one of my better nights wasn't even a real set. What happened was, I was on stage for 36 seconds.
36 seconds.
They call it 36 seconds of heat. I'm getting this girl's throwing out sexual innuendos at me, and then I just say, "Oh, fuck my set," and I leave with her.
So you just walked off stage and went out with this chick?
Yeah. We had that on video.
Oh wow.
But yeah, but some of, you know, I've had a lot of them recently. Sometimes it's just when something clicks. You know what I mean? Like I once flipped my car, and once again with that, I started trying to talk about it on stage. 2 days later.
Don't worry.
You know, I just tried to talk about it, and it was bombing. I kept doing it because I really wanted to talk about it. And then finally it started working.
Right.
And now it's to the place where by the end of it, it's a good little chunk, you know, and that was like feels really good.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like you're drawing something and it sucks.
Yeah.
You know, oh, this is, so you throw it away, then you draw it again. It still sucks, but a little better. Draw it. Oh, it's getting better, and then by the time you're done, you can just display it up there, and people, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So just master that craft. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Very cool, man. Now you've been out here. Do you think networking is a good way to get through this town? Do you find that an agent is helping you, or?
Well, yeah, no, for me, I don't really believe in, I don't really believe in the word networking per se. I believe in the word working.
Yeah.
Because all the rest of this stuff will come around if you're working at it. You know, like I know a lot of these actors and actresses, you know, they'll go to parties and they'll go to things like that. But what does that help you do? A networking event, a networking party. There's all these other people. Man, spend that 2 hours working on something.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're a script writer, write your script during that 2 hours. Then you got something you can show them. If you're an actor, actress, you know, you could read something, read the script or whatever.
Yeah.
Comic it on stage. I mean, because really when we do our, I guess when we do our networking is while we're performing.
Yeah.
You know.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got a little bit distracted there. So we touched on the good night. What's one of the worst nights? One of the night you would just want to forget. You've been up there.
I've had a couple. One night, like I said, one night I really wanted to forget was early on, like maybe second show or something, just when I knew that it was going to be hard. Because people are so delusional about stand-up, they crack their friends up.
Yeah.
And then in the real situation, in that audience, it's not like that.
Right.
You know? And then I had one out in Coos Bay, Oregon. I had to drive like 16 hours to get there. Right? And I mean, I just ate it bad. And I've been doing it for maybe a couple years by then. But that's when like the loneliness set in.
The drive back, huh?
Yeah, just being out there in that lonely town by myself after a rough night where the guy one of the audience members, you know what the problem with your set is? You don't say fuck enough.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, well, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, there's one more for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, because that's something that I don't know if like people who don't do it would realize that it's more lonely than you might think. You know, because you are by yourself a lot, and the people that you perform in front of is fun for the little time you're up there. But when that's gone, it's gone, and then you kind of dwell into your little, you know, hotel room or whatever, and just start writing again.
So what's the hardest part of your career?
For me, it's hard. It's hard not knowing when you're gonna get paid. You know, not knowing when the next gig is. You know, like I did well in May, but now June's coming up.
Right.
Where am I gonna get my gigs from? I gotta call around. And for me, I mean, I keep using it, but I think it's kind of like I think that, I don't know, that loneliness seeks in because you're not on a time schedule that the rest of the world is.
Mm-hmm.
So for have people get involved in your life, it's kind of like a turnoff in a lot of ways. The lifestyle that you have,
Right.
you know, you're out late, you're doing you're doing your gigs, you know, and it's kind of like that's the hardest part to me. It's just that you run on a different time than the rest of the world, which kind of, I guess the word secludes you.
Yeah.
You know, you're kind of secluded, and that creates a lot of problems
Right.
in your life as a regular man.
Yeah. So it's the hours, huh?
The hours and just the job description, and a lot of people, you know, if you come into my life, you're gonna be part of my work.
Yeah.
My life is my art is my life. I like that saying. I always try to use it, and not a lot of people don't want to be involved in that kind of thing.
So what keeps you going?
Desire, you know, passion, and just the enjoyment, you know, of the. I mean, it keeps me going too because I've had the other life of the 9 to 5, and I couldn't handle that. So as hard as this is, and as complicated as it can be, it's the only thing I know. You know, it's like, and I want to keep going. I had a dream of Jerry Seinfeld, and he was washing tables. You know, in this dream, he was washing tables. I said, "Hey man, what the hell are you doing washing tables? You're a comedian." And then he said, "Oh, I used to be." And in my dream, I interpreted that to mean that he quit doing comedy, and he had to start washing tables.
Right.
So I want to stick through it just so I don't, you know.
You had to wash the table.
Yeah.
Wow. How easy is it for people to break into the business now as compared to 10 years ago when you first started it? What do you think?
I think it's the same. I mean, since I started, you know, what I started doing was just, you know, different for everybody, but, you know, I took this lady's advice, old Irish lady,
Mm-hmm.
who had made it in this business, and what she wanted was working in wardrobe, you know, and I think that if you take a lot of time, and if you can take rejection, and if you can acknowledge where you're at as an artist, you know, that's the main thing. And if you can, you know, live with yourself and beat yourself up a little, but not too much.
Right.
You know, that's a hard thing. Is, you know, you might have a commercial audition.
Yeah.
You might not even have a line. What you get picked? Why didn't I get picked? What did you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So if you can handle all that, and you know, for me, what gets me through is just writing. It don't even have to be about anything. Just to write it down. Just
Right.
write down my journal or whatever, you know.
Right. So let's say let's say the Eddie Murphy thing happens. You had your Delirious, you had your Raw. Now all of a sudden you're doing Shrek 3. You're not, do you think you'd ever quit comedy like he did and not go back to it, or do you think you'd always get back up on stage?
I think I would. I think I would do it, but you know, you never know what would happen. You know, like I don't know. I think in his situation it's a little different because he probably been away from it so long that he probably couldn't really, as a stand-up, compete with the guys who are doing it right now.
Yeah.
Honestly, he was better at that time in that thing, but this is but it's a sport.
Yeah.
You know, this is nothing less than a sport, and if you're not up in the batting cage every day,
Yeah.
somebody else is gonna hit more homers than you.
So you think that's what it is? He just got benched too much?
I think that might ride in somebody's mind.
Yeah.
It would ride in my mind if I was in his situation. You mean I'm gonna have to come back because now people's expectations are like this.
Yeah, they're still thinking Delirious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got some dude who's been doing it every night for 8 years now with that hunger.
Yeah.
Who ain't in movies or nothing, nobody.
Mm-hmm.
But he got the hunger and his material is sharp and he's right on pace with the crowd at this moment in time.
Right.
So that might subconsciously hold somebody big back like that.
Wow.
It's kind of like what Funny People, the movie, was about a little bit. Was Sandler's character was trying to come back, but these young guys was like hungry,
Yeah.
you know, and you can't really compete. I don't know. Sometimes being broke artist ain't bad because you got the hunger to really create something good.
Mm-hmm.
You're not lazy.
Yeah.
You know, you might eat a bowl of cereal and a banana for the entire day, but man, you're gonna come up with some good material.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely. So, in your time out here, did you ever meet somebody who you thought, man, this guy's gonna make it, and then they end up giving up or quitting the business?
No, but well, I mean, I've met a lot of people who quit the business,
Right.
but I mean, I figured they was gonna quit,
Right.
and maybe there's a few that could have done, but then I think I'm getting good at seeing who's gonna make it.
Yep. So you get the eye for
I got the eye for who gonna make it, you know.
Yeah.
I know, I can tell, and certain people I know won't quit.
Yeah.
You know, like I know a couple that are coming up. See, I've seen them. I've seen a lot of people even start when I did, and they made it. You know, and
Yeah.
I just look at it like we all have our times. You don't know when it's gonna be. You know, somebody might make it this year, and then look around. Well, what the hell? They made it this year. What? Well, maybe you got 10 years more.
Yeah. So do you ever have that why isn't it me moment?
You do sometimes, but you gotta go. Hey, it's all right.
It's
You know what I mean? It's coming. Okay, it's not me tonight. I'm in you know, Winnemucca, Nevada for this show in front of 30 people,
Yeah.
and somebody else, one of my peers, is on television. Hey, that's all right.
Right.
That ain't my. This is my journey. I got these 30 tonight.
Well, that's cool. Just look at it as every day is your step.
Yeah, but sometimes it's just like, damn, you know, it's like, man, it's just, you know, it's my car got. See, I get worried. My car got hit and run going to a gig in Long Beach. On the 10 freeway, somebody hit and took off. I couldn't get the license or nothing. So I'm driving around with a car that I had to tie the trunk down
Yeah.
with the rope. I cut a milk jug in half, spray painted it red, used that as my tail light.
Wow.
So as I'm driving across the country in that car, I'm thinking, damn, I hope something breaks for me.
Yeah. I'm the same place with brother.
Yeah.
You're right on that edge.
You're right
you know
on the
it's
edge.
coming, but you need to hope your car will make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep the car going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to. I want to trade it for nothing. I mean, if you gave me a big salary at another job, it won't compare to this. You know, even the hard, just the fact that you know you're creating something.
Well, let me ask you this. Say, Vancouver Studios calls you tomorrow and said, hey, dude, we're going to put you on TV at least, every week for the next 6 months. Can you move out to Vancouver for us?
Oh, to move out? Yeah, I've always wanted to go to Vancouver, actually. Yeah, I've always wanted to go out there. I heard it's pretty nice, you know. Yeah, I mean, if I had a real job, that's like, a real entertainment job, They got a couple comedy clubs out there, too, I heard. They got a pretty good comedy scene, because that's where, ain't Jim Carrey from there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that would be, for sure,
Have to marry some hot chick out there to get your citizenship.
Yeah, I'd get my revenge.
Quit her when you get famous.
I'd get my revenge on that one. Yeah.
For sure.
I don't know, man. But then it makes it hard, dude. It makes it hard. That's everybody, all my friends know that's my biggest flaw in the whole thing is women. That's been my life.
Oh, yeah.
That's been my downfall. That's my heroin, man. It's like it's a serious problem.
It takes 34 seconds and you're out of there. Huh?
Yeah, it's like that's my biggest thing, But yeah, I feel like if there was a job in entertainment that was in another town that they flew me out, like you said, Vancouver or wherever, like I was just in New York City and I was like, man, I would never live here unless I had a real entertainment job.
But Hollywood's your home. This is where you came to make it, right?
Yeah, this is where I came. I mean, I can't even. It just pretty much came from my acting teacher say, well, if you're going to do this, my friend lives in Pasadena, maybe you should talk to her. Mm-hmm. And then it's kind of like, sometimes your path is like, you look at it and you think it's just coincidence, but you look at the things that had happened and there's no way it's a coincidence.
Yeah.
It's tied together. I mean, the fact that, she sent me here and then she sent me here and then, I'm handing out gum and I meet a comedian and then that becomes the passion for everything I do. Mm-hmm. It's like there's no like you don't know, there's no rhyme or reason, but it seems like it's all connected. Mm-hmm. When you step back from it, so it's kind of weird like that.
I agree with you. I mean, that's how those movies get made here, and that's what we're doing. So
yeah, it's kind of like this
it's
person,
yeah.
And then
it's cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time.
Man, I had fun.
Yeah,
I hope I didn't say anything too stupid.
No, dude, I think we got it.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you very much. One more shot for me. Don't leave. Sit right there.
Okay.